Okay, I think I made a mistake before and said the wrong week. It is week 13, not 12. Okay, we've just called the roll. Through with that, very nice. And now we're going to resume with David Copperfield. At this point in the story, and I hope you're watching the video yourself, Judy, David has spent years working in the factory owned by Mr. Murdstone, who is his stepfather. But he does, well. He's really grown up. He's good at working in the factory, which deals a lot with bottles, glass bottles. But at some point he is criticized, and Murdstone comes in, and he's displeased and angry, and he goes out to the factory floor, knocking down or throwing down a bunch of bottles, which was what he was punished for the first time he was there. Anyway, he has quit. And the McCullough family, who he had been living with, also has fallen onto hard times, which is, by the way, the name of a different Charles Dickens novel, very good one. So right now, as far as we are aware, Mr. McCullough at least is in debtor's prison. I say debtors because he owes money that he wasn't able to pay, and so they put him in jail or prison. Instead of getting the money from him, they also took all of his stuff. I'm not sure what the rest of the family is doing at the moment, but they're probably not very comfortable. Anywho, David finally decides, well, I have one living relative, aside from my mother. And this is a problem with the video that we're using. The story has had an unfortunate event. Clara Murdstone, originally Copperfield, has died. And this is unhappy news. David leaves the factory and talks to Mr. Murdstone and his sister, who is very irritating, and saying, you're both ghosts to me. You've never been more than that. And he goes away. He decides, well, I have a relative still living, and that is Betsy Trotwood, who was the first person to come to the house when David was born, and now she's living in a nice house. She has a kind of mania about donkeys who frequently cross her property, and she bangs pots and shoos them away. She's living also with her cousin, Mr. Dick. I was able to check, and yes, Mr. Dick is Betsy's cousin, yeah. Anyway, so he's also kind of a relative of David. At first, when David shows up exhausted, having walked from London to this other place to find the Betsy Trotwood, he's exhausted, and his aunt doesn't recognize him. Well, of course, she hasn't even seen. Even when she was there originally, she didn't actually lay eyes on David, the baby. So, of course, she doesn't recognize him by looks, but she also doesn't. It takes a while for her to remember that she has this nephew named David Copperfield. She always insists that the child of her late brother, Mr. Copperfield, ought to be called Trotwood, and is pretty insistent on that. Anyhow, she lets him stay there. David has found a better home than he's had for a while. And he meets Mr. Dick, the cousin, who is an older man who is, like David, is a creative person. Both of them, it turns out, have had a habit of writing down, scraps of ideas on pieces of paper. And so they're kind of similar in that way. And at one point recently, David has told Mr. Dick, all these bits of paper, they seem to be weighing you down. Mr. Dick has been obsessed recently with a special interest in King Charles I, whose head was cut off, and it's kind of a depressing thing. So David says, okay, well, let's make kites and put our little scraps of paper onto the kites. There's more than one eventually. Welcome. And they go out and fly the kites in a metaphorical way, making Mr. Dick less heavy in his mind. And now David is out and about and meets, as we're about to see, meets, I had this name a second ago. Well, he introduces himself, so we'll remember that way. No, it's not that. He's an important character. He likes to drink. Along with him is another young lady who David will fall in love with later on. Let's continue now with the story. I backtracked slightly so we can catch that scene once again. This is Mr. Dick, and this is David. And now I think I must stop recording because it will be flagged once again by YouTube. So please pardon me, I can't really do a lot about this.